Today we're making a super easy one-pot dish, creamy beef and shells. Yes, it is a very creative name. Okay, so let's go over the ingredients. I'm just gonna go from this way to this way. I have one 28-ounce can of plum tomatoes. You can blend or pulse these or hand crush them. We're gonna use a little bit of olive oil in here, maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons. Half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. You can use more if you like. It's a half a cup of grated Pecorino Romano, about 45 grams worth. I have one medium onion that I diced, about 6 cloves of garlic that I sliced. And then I have 4 cups of low sodium beef stock. So we need the liquid from these tomatoes and all of this liquid to cook our pasta, because we're gonna cook our pasta together with the sauce. We're not gonna cook it separately. If you want to change my recipe, and many people like to change recipes, and I do encourage you to change them if you're capable of doing it. If you wanna cook your pasta separately, remove this liquid. You don't need it then. This is to cook the pasta. And we might actually need even a little bit more liquid than that. We have 1 cup of cream. That cream is gonna make our creamy beef shells creamy, okay? We have 1 pound of shells. These are medium shells to Checo, number 50, okay? There's a lot of different brands that make these. You could use smaller shells and you could use a smaller pot, like a similar size pasta if you like. I wouldn't use the super large shells that are for stuffed shells, all right? That I wouldn't use. Though I think it would, look, if that's all you have, it probably would work. And then that's 1.5 pounds of ground chuck that is shaped like a football. They just really packed that thing like where'd you get it, at Whole Foods Tower?
Yeah.
What did the guy just go like that and give it to you?
I think so.
Yeah.
It wasn't shaped like that behind the butcher counter.
But it'll be fine. You can use your hand with a shield hand. I actually want these tomatoes to be fully incorporated. I hate using my blender and, dirtying it up. This thing's a lot simpler. I use this all the time now. This is an immersion blender. This is a cordless one. So what I love about this, see, it just pops off. So this is the only part that has to go in the dishwasher, or just rinse it really quick. But it's a lot simpler than using a big blender. And you just go in like that, and then, oh, is this, thought I was running out of battery, out of juice. Now it takes a little bit longer, but I just love the convenience of it for soups, stews, all that. Now listen, you don't want this, throw it in your regular blender or just pulse it, but I want them relatively smooth for this. Okay, so we're gonna brown the beef. This is a 4-quart Tefal non-stick. It works really well. Any type of brazier like this would be good. It doesn't have to be a non-stick. Non-stick is just easier if you're gonna cook pasta how we're going to do it in a pan like this, so it won't stick. It doesn't mean you can't use a stainless, all right? I know many people are super against anything like this, so I'm telling you there's options.
Could you use a Dutch oven?
Oh, Dutch oven would be perfect. Honestly, the only reason I'm not using a Dutch oven is because it's hard to see in there. It's hard for me to get the camera in there. So I'm gonna put a couple tablespoons of olive oil, even though we have chuck, which has a lot of fat. Okay, and I got my football here. I'm just gonna try to break it up, put it into littler sections, just put it all around. I like to just smash it down just so we can get a little bit better surface contact on it. All right, that's good. And medium to maybe even a touch more than medium heat. I have one of these splash guards on, just so I don't make too much of a mess. One thing I forgot to say, we're gonna finish with a nice amount of basil at the end. I didn't have that ingredient out. Every time I take it out, it gets all bad by the time I use it, so I have it packed up still. Okay, that's browning up real nicely. I can smell that. Okay, and we'll just flip this over. Gotta get that guard on quick. It's just the nature of cooking greasy food. At a little bit more than medium heat, you're gonna have a lot of splashing. All right, so the other side only went for 2 minutes. I don't wanna just make it everything super crispy burnt here. It's just gonna, it's too much. We don't need to do that because I gotta cook the onions now and I don't wanna take the beef out, so I'm just gonna break it up a little bit with my meat masher. Really get that grease all over me and my apron. All right, we'll break it up more in a second, but let's kind of make some room in the middle of that pan there. And let's get the onions in. Maybe you want to be a little bit more fancy. You can just take it out, take all your meat out, and then get your onions in. But, that's why I didn't cook the meat all the way yet. We'll have enough time. The timing will be perfect. Put a little bit more olive oil in there. Try to get them down. And let's do a little bit of salt. You can put salt on your beef too, a little bit of seasoning right now, and on the onions. All right, we'll let the onions go for about 5 minutes, or give or take. Just turn them over every couple minutes. Okay, so it's been about 6 minutes. I moved it around a little bit, as you can see. Okay, those are looking nice. Gonna push everything off to the side again. Let's get our garlic in. I'm really showing you a simple way to make this right now with one pan, truly one pan. Now, this recipe doesn't have any vegetables in it.
I just think that an addition of a green, like whether it's peas or even baby spinach could be added.
Do we have any? We don't have any baby spinach. We have peas. I mean, we could put a little bit of peas in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know what? Listen, I would ask you if we were doing a live right now. I would poll the audience right now what you want. I think we'll put in some peas in today. I know the taste tester loves peas, so I think he'll appreciate that. You know, if you follow the recipe as it is, it has no peas. But Tara's right. Peas or spinach would be great. All right. So I got a little color on that garlic, which is all I wanted. Get it nice and fragrant. Now I'm gonna start mixing everything together. You know, in this non-stick pan here, we still got beautiful color on our beef. Half a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. You know what, I think it needs a little bit more than that. A little bit more, but if you follow the recipe, it's a half teaspoon. I'm really teaching you, I want you to make these things your own, go for it, do what you like. Don't get set in stone on that. Let's get those tomatoes in. And we're gonna put the 4 cups. So I'm gonna take some of that so I can rinse out this can here, just to get the excess, sometimes there's a lot of good stuff at the bottom. And then we'll also get it out of this thing. Same thing. Okay, so that is 4 cups of low sodium beef stock. That is 128-ounce can of plum tomatoes that we put through the immersion blender. Bring the temperature up. We want to bring this to a lively simmer. And once we get it there, we're going to season this well because I used low sodium beef stock, which depending on what type of stock you use, some boxes will have a ton. If you make your own homemade, you'll have no salt. But we need a good amount of salt because we're cooking our pasta in here. So when you cook your pasta in a pot of boiling water, you're putting about a 1.5%, 1 to 1.5% salinity of salt. We need this to be about the same amount so we can flavor our pasta doing it this way. Okay, so it's pretty much simmering now. Let's give this a taste test, okay? And we're gonna check for that salt. Yeah, it depends on what type of tomatoes you used, how much salt you put in initially on that beef. It needs a good amount of salt. It's gonna need a good amount because of, for the pasta, okay? All right, so that's a little bit over a teaspoon, probably a teaspoon and a half. Do keep in mind, we're gonna put in about that half cup of pecorino at the end, which is salty. You have to think about it, like you have a pound of pasta that is 1,600 calories. It's just this massive blank canvas, and it needs salt. Doesn't matter what the box says here because we're cooking this slower. I'm gonna let this pasta, the shells absorb the sauce here and the liquid. It's gonna take longer than it takes to boil. All right, I'm gonna turn my heat to about medium to maybe a touch less than medium. I don't want my liquid to absorb, to evaporate too quickly. This should be good enough for us to cook our pasta, but if it's not, we'll add a half a cup of stock at a time, hot stock at a time, and it'll be perfect, okay? Non-stick works well here. You're not gonna have too much sticking, but even still, come back every 30 seconds to a minute and stir the bottom. Okay, if you're using something that's not non-stick, you're gonna be stirring a lot more. I just wanna break in here. So this has been going for about 5 minutes. I don't know exactly, but I do wanna time this for you so you get a general idea of about medium, maybe a touch less than medium. I have like little bubbles here, maybe a little bit less heat than that. I want you to know how long it took me to do it. That being said, still just when it starts going from super hard like it is right now to on the softer stage, you can just take a bite of one and that's gonna be your best way to tell for sure. Okay, so that's been exactly 10 minutes. So you can see how the liquid is starting to thicken up, the starch is starting to release from the pasta, but the pasta is still very hard. So you don't even need to start testing it or trying it at that point. Peas, if you wanna do peas, I would do them about now. Now's a good time. Got about, that 8 or 10 minutes before we're finished. Spinach, I would just throw in right at the end if you were gonna do it. Yeah, I mean, I think James is gonna like that.
I feel like peas go really well with shells because they kind of get stuck inside the shell.
Yeah, I agree with that. Onion and peas, I think we've done some recipes where we did the onion and pancetta and peas with the shells. It's a delicious combination.
Shells and peas were meant for each other.
Yeah, and this would be very Sicilian too. Peas are put in a lot of dishes, okay? A lot of dishes.
They're in the riso al forno, you do.
I put them in the riso al forno. They're often put in rice balls. There's ragouts. There's a Sicilian ragu has peas in it. There's a lot of other dishes too that are just escaping me right now. Okay, we're gonna let that keep going. I'm timing it for you, but you know, it's been going for about 12 minutes, I'd say. Okay, so this is roughly after 15 minutes. Pasta is still not done yet. When it gets to pasta, where the pasta is about 3 minutes from finished, that's when we'll put the cream in. You're probably looking at this and saying, Jim, I don't even want the cream. That looks delicious like this. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that. You don't have to put the cream in then. You can have it just like this and finish it with the pecorino and the basil. That would be amazing, okay? It would be amazing that way. Okay, so it's a few minutes from being like nice and al dente. Right now it's still a little bit too hard. I just tried it. Here's the cream. Okay, put it in at the end. Now we're gonna go from like that red sauce to almost like a pink sauce, almost kind of like a vodka sauce. There's no reason why you couldn't turn this into a vodka sauce. Just after you do your onions and garlic, you just deglaze with white wine and a little bit of vodka, and then you could go on and do everything the same, okay? So that's a little cool right now. That's lowering the temperature in here. It's gonna take about a minute for it to come back up again, to start cooking. It's gonna taste a piece of pasta. Maybe 3-4 minutes. I got some beautiful basil in my hand. I'm gonna chop this up, okay? And just keep stirring it, you know, every so often. We'll let this pasta finish. That's good, nice and al dente. So what we're gonna do now is, and by the way, the exact time on that, not exact, because I think when I started my clock, there was already 7 minutes elapsed, and 16, we're at 23 minutes, okay? Your cooking time's gonna be essentially doubled, you know, versus standard boiling than when you just are cooking it on much lower heat in something like this. But it'll fluctuate depending on the shape. Okay, let's take this off the heat. Let's put in our cheese. That's a 1/2 cup of grated Pecorino Romano. Adding the cheese here kind of will tighten up things. And, you know, if you're waiting for your family for even 15, 20 minutes to sit down, it's gonna tighten up even more. If for some reason, like you had your heat a little bit higher and you had more evaporation, you might have something that's a little bit drier than this. Just add a little bit of stock to thin it out. Let's do a taste test. I suspect there's more than enough salt in here after adding that cheese. Good. I'm gonna do a little bit more hot pepper. I'm sure he might even want some on his. Okay, here's a lot of that basil. Okay, you mix that in. And, you know, I always test all these recipes, like right before I'm gonna make it for you. So we had this last week. It was even better left over. The basil somehow infused it more. It was just so delicious. I think the basil is a really important component here. It like kind of freshens up some, you know, like a very rich sauce like this. You know, the recipe says make 6 large portions or 8 moderate size. I think that's correct. I don't know if I would be eating like half of this.
It's very filling.
Yeah, super filling. James, this is something that you have not had.
Yeah, I haven't had this.
You haven't tried this one. So this is a good one. Because, you know, a lot of times I do testings, like, and, you know, I can't deprive my children of the food I make. So he kind of, sometimes he knows, but this one you don't know.
Yeah. Let's try it.
You want to know the name of this one?
Yeah, what is it?
Creamy beefy shells.
Taste fits the name. This reminds me of that one pasta you made. It was just like, you just call it pasta piece. Like,
Yep.
and that's what it reminds me of, just with shells and beef. It's very good. I don't think it compares to the last one, really, though.
Tell them what the last one was.
It was angel hair with Old Bay shrimp. It's so good. This one is still really good, though. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's like, I love cream sauces. Like, beef and peas always pair, like, really well together. And you have, like, that nice crunch from the peas, plus, like, them and the beef inside of the shells. It's very good.
If it didn't have peas in it, what would it get?
Probably, like, an 8 or 7.
So the recipe that we have, the print recipe, it doesn't have it in there. Just remember what he said. If you want to add peas, all you have to do is just toss them in the last 5 minutes of cooking. Thawed. If they're frozen, put them in like 10 minutes before it's done so they can unfreeze.
Yeah, it's very good.
Anything else you want to say here, James?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks, James. We always appreciate it. That's a 9 out of 10.
Let's go finish this.
He's taller than you now, by the way.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I know. He doesn't even have shoes on. I do. I'll take my shoes off right now and show you. Okay, James?
Oh, wow.
You know what, James? Congrats.
Thank you.
Congrats.